Welcome everyone to week 2, lesson 2. This is Miss Taggart and we're going to continue on understanding regions. Understanding what a region is just an easy way for geographers to organize the world in areas of study. It can be done in one of two ways, either by geographical features, which are features such as climate, vegetation, or landforms. Or the characteristics could be human and cultural features, such as major industries, ethnic population, languages spoken, or religions that are practiced. Geographers are breaking the world into regions because it's overwhelming to try to study the whole world at once. Looking at separate regions allows geographers to identify patterns and compare information both inside particular regions and from one region to another. Let's first look at physical regions. Physical regions are defined by similar landforms or other physical characteristics. For instance, there are mountainous regions, coastal region, and river-valley regions. These are regions that share a cold, icy climate and others that are united by a hot, dry climate. There are regions characterized by their plant or animal life, such as wetland areas full of frogs, alligators, turtles, and other creatures that like a marshy environment. Now let's take a look at cultural regions. Cultural regions are defined by human characteristics rather than physical characteristics. National borders and other political divisions, economic trends or industrial activities, languages spoken, types of religion, and ethnic heritage are all examples of human characteristics that can be used to define a cultural region. One common example of a cultural region is what people often refer to as the Arab world in the Middle East. This is a region that stretches across two continents, Asia and Africa, and a number of different countries. These countries include Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Egypt, Algeria, and Morocco, along with many others. There are some physical similarities across the entire region. For example, the countries are relatively dry and barren. However, what really unites the region is a combination of history, language, and religion. Now let's take a look at a map that's a little something that you've been used to. Regions of the United States. Because many different characteristics can define a region, there are many different ways to divide individual countries and the world as a whole into regions. While some geographers may agree on certain regional differences, there are always disagreements and variances. The regions of the United States can be broken either into 5, 6, or 8 areas. The 6 basic regions to take into consideration are landforms, climate, and elevations. These 6 regions are the Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, Southwest, Mountain States, and Pacific Coast. Other geographers may use similar characteristics to divide the country into only 4 regions: the Northeast, Midwest, South, and West. Still others may consider different characteristics to divide the country into 5 regions, 7, or 8. As you can see, the one that you're looking at today is broken into far more. When we're looking at breaking down the world, that is the focus of our class in world cultures. Our next location that we'll look at in Chapter 2 is the United States and Canada and how they're broken down into specific regions. Now let's take a look at mapping from memory. What is a mental map? Have you ever tried to give somebody directions to the principal's office at school or to a local store or park that is close to your home? When you gave these directions, you probably did not need to refer to a printed map, because these are places you're very familiar with. But you did use another kind of map, a mental map. Mental maps are the maps people construct in their minds based on their understanding or perception of the world. However, mental maps can be broad, like your internal knowledge of where things are in your entire city, or they can be narrow, like a mental picture of where things are in your bedroom. They also may not be based on fact and are often defined by a person's feelings and attitudes about a place. Mental maps are useful in keeping your thoughts organized, especially when watching the news and getting a general idea of where something has taken place. Try to create your own mental map. How would you give someone directions to get to your favorite restaurant? Was it easy or hard to think of how to get there? Mapping from memory is a useful tool, and as often within world cultures, you need to have an idea of the entire world. Week 2, Lesson 2. At this point, you need to make sure you've responded to your peers on the discussion board. You've begun your weekly project and will be prepared to submit your assignment. At this point, have you reviewed all the videos that I've listed on this Week 2 assignment page? And did you complete the progress check? Starting on Monday, we'll start looking at the US and Canada in the beginning of Chapter 2. Remember, if you have any questions or concerns, email your instructor or see the peer discussion board.